I have two words for you: predator drones. You will never see it coming. You think I'm joking?
The New York Times published a major expose about how President Obama personally oversees a, quote, secret kill list containing the names and photos of individuals targeted for assassination in the U.S. drone war. According to the Times, Obama signs off on every targeted killing in Yemen and Somalia and the more complex or risky strikes in Pakistan. Individuals on the list include U.S. citizens as well as teenage girls as young as 17 years old. Glenn, can you comment on that?
Well, we, of course, known for a long time that the President of the United States believes that he has the power to order people killed, assassinated, in total secrecy, without any due process, without transparency or oversight of any kind. I really do believe it's literally the most radical power that a government and a president can seize, and yet the Obama administration has seized this power and exercised it aggressively with very little controversy. What the New York Times article does is it adds some important, though very disturbing details. Probably the most disturbing of which is that one of the reasons why the Obama administration runs around claiming that the casualties of civilians are so low from their drone attacks, which everybody knows is false, is because they've redefined what a militant is. And a militant, in the eyes of the Obama administration, formally means any male of fighting age, presumably 18 to 40, who is in a strike zone of a missile. So if the United States shoots a missile or detonates a bomb by drone or by aircraft and kills 8 or a dozen or 24 people, without even knowing whom they've killed or anything about them, they will immediately label any male of a certain age a militant by virtue of their proximity to that scene. And what the New York Times article said was that the rationale for this is that they believe that anybody who is even near a terrorist or any terrorist activity is, quote, probably up to no good.
And now, sometimes we know who we're hitting. Those are called personality strikes. We at least hope that we know who we're hitting. We at least have an intended target. Now, a lot of times we kill civilians as we do that. Sometimes we miss the target entirely. Now, there are other kinds of strikes called a signature strike. That's when we don't know who we're hitting. We just see a pattern on the ground. We see some weaponry, or we see other indications of military-aged males in the area, which, by the way, is any man that isn't a kid. And so what we do is we send a drone strike for those signature strikes, and everybody down below gets killed or executed.
One of the things we found is that there are entire communities who live in areas where drones are flying overhead 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at times. And these people don't know when those drones will strike. They don't know who they will strike. The result is symptoms of psychological disorder, of trauma, of severe anxiety, and of dysfunctionality. We heard stories of people who won't leave their houses.
अक्सर खलक बंद होदों रज़ियत ज़हनी प्रेशर न चवार शने दिन से पेशावर ता डॉक्टरां ता दिन दरुनी.
One of the things we found and documented were incidents of double tapping.
There'll be an initial strike on a target, and then very shortly after, a secondary strike. What has happened in the period between the first and the second strike is that neighbors or people nearby or family members, or in some cases doctors, have come to assist those who may have been injured and still survived.
And when they're doing that, a second drone has hit. The people with whom we spoke in the communities affected almost without exception, told us, when there's a drone strike, we won't go near afterwards. And we even heard this from some medical professionals. One of the things we heard from several people is that they didn't know what America was before drones. And now what they know of America is drones, death, and terror. We may not have declared war on Pakistan, but for the people living in northwest Pakistan under drones, they're in a war zone.
Now, one of the guys that got executed in this way was a U.S. citizen. Well, actually, 3 of them were in Yemen, but one of them was a kid. He was a 16-year-old, Abdul Rahman al-Awlaki. He had grown up in Colorado. In fact, in a rare cable news investigative story, of all places, Fox had footage of this kid and had the story. So let's watch.
This exclusive video of al-Awlaki's teenage son, who was born in Denver, Colorado in 1995, was filmed by the Fox Specials unit last year.
Now, he was 15 at the time. 1 year later, in Yemen, he gets a drone strike and is killed. His father was also killed in a different strike, but at least his father was on some sort of list. Now, do we know why he was on that list? We don't know, right? They won't share it with us. They keep it secret. But why did they kill the son, a 16-year-old? Well, that's double, triple secret. They won't tell us that at all.
It has made people extremely angry at the United States.
The New York Times recently classified drones in a piece as the new Guantanamo, the new recruiting tool for Al-Qaeda.
One person we interviewed asked me, do American people know what these drone strikes are doing? Do American people know the strikes are killing civilians here? And people said to us, we want you to go back, now that you've spoken to us, and tell the American public the impact that drone policies are having.
Through our report, we would like the American people to understand that the narrative that they have heard about drones is not accurate. That drones cause death to civilians, they terrorize entire populations, and they may well be counterproductive at many levels.